Fuzzy duck, ducky fuzz. Does he fuck? No!
Fuck. Thank. Thank you, Jay, so much for the sub. What the fuck? Also, I know I fucked up putting the wrong game in. Ignore that. I was tired. I'm not tired. I just have other shit going on. But thank you for the sub. Of course, he gets the founder badge. Eh. I won't know where the cat is. You're just gonna move. Actually, no, we're just gonna leave it up there. It's fine. The work of art. We need to add the rest of Wilbur's songs to this. I can make it easier. Alright. There we go. I may not have played a round.
I'll make it out of here yet.
Off stream and almost beat the game. But then we ran into someone.
You saw that Thanatos is back.
Yeah! He's back!
Brooding, when he's around at least.
I saw Achilles. I think he's angry with me because of my decision to leave the house.
Also, we're going through a mental breakdown, so I currently am dyeing the fuck out of my hair, and I have 11 minutes before I have to go change. Sorry, a wonderful email decided to pop up. I didn't fucking share Discord again. I'm not even in my Discord for a second. Oh my goodness. I don't stream for a couple days and this shit happens. You know, just because we're posting this on Twitter. 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 You gotta go to the bud. To the bud. Let's see what's changed. Absolutely has. Nothing has
I won't
changed.
say that. It isn't every day or night when one discovers that his closest friend has had it with his temperamental father and decided to leave home. I think he's struggling with...
I will. You're right as always, sir.
Gentle. There's not a goddamn thing about me. I'm gonna shut the fuck up. Hey.
Anything I can do to help you find your muse, mate?
We've already found her.
I fear my muse is long since lost to me, my friend. Though truly, thanks for asking. I suppose she must be out there somewhere still, since I once traveled across this land in search of her.
Wait, you found her? What happened?
Well, this was back when I was still alive, you understand. Your father, why, he doesn't care for anyone to leave this realm, and basically now I'm stuck here as well. Not seen her since, and I'm not much for...
I'm sorry to hear that.
I appreciate the sentiment, my friend. Though please don't worry about her or me. I mean...
Father's not back yet, huh?
Mother, is there something I can do to help with all of this? I spend too much time away from the house. Please.
I swear I'm not down bad for him. I swear I'm not down bad. I swear I'm not down bad. This is bisexual panic right here. Fuck.
Doing so. Matters are at stake here concerning you and all of
I
us.
swear I'm not down
Your
bad.
support and choices in this shape the outcome that shall come to pass.
I understand, and I will do my best. Thank you for taking care of everything. I have every faith in you, Mother. And in this...
Farewell.
Swear I'm not down bad.
May I help you somehow, Zagreus? Because if not, why don't you...
I swear I'm not down bad. I'm just really fucking gay.
Anything good?
My god! Shit. Where the fuck is Dusa? I had such a good run-in that I fucked it up. Pets.
You want more pets? I got more pets here, boy.
He's a good boy. Yes, time to be a brooding cunt. I was like, why is my neck itchy? Bestie. Bestie.
What are these shades up to now?
Ooh. Bestie, it's not like you have bleach literally hanging off your neck. Because the mental breakdown decided to fucking slap you across the face. When the fuck did I do this?
Prophecy fulfilled.
Oh. I did that. It was like, when did I do this? Oh, I got an achievement! Ho. Ho. Ho.
The power of night.
I'm a good noodle. See? I almost beat the game off stream. But I was a cuck.
This look like a shoulder to cry on to you, boyo?
Damn. Shit.
My keepsakes.
Alright. Who'd Eurydice? Ayo. The fuck happened to the bow? Still need to upgrade this.
See into your past.
We'll do that later. Dude, I've been working with these.
It's Demeter.
Hey, love.
You live within the bosom of the earth and know its warmth. But there is no such warmth up here, young Zack.
Fix that for you.
Have I told you that she has one of my favorite? Also, I'm gonna fucking kill you. Sorry, one of my friends is currently gonna be on my shit list. There's gonna be a very long Twitter. It's not even gonna be a Twitter down. I'm just gonna yell at him. Shut the fuck up, weather app. Who's still alive? Oh.
The underworld's power.
Ooh, my beloved Artemis. They gave me Artemis. There's a bobby pin missing from my hair. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know where that bitch is. Oh, hey, Soul, your bitch ass of a kind. Hey.
Were you hunting vermin near the surface lately, Zagreus? That's
Any damage you deal has a chance to be crit. I need that for someone. Alright, any witch who decides to sit on trap I fucking hate.
Worthless.
Hey! Speak of the devil and he shall come. We're going good. Shit! Where did you come from?
Face, I got to tell you, I cannot believe that.
Hey! Your attack inflicts hangover. I don't care about the rest of them. Yeah. Yes. I know, it's been 2 years. It doesn't feel like I've been streaming for 2 years, but I have. Goddamn. Dude, I fucking, cause again, I have a VODs channel where all my VODs are saved. For looking back at like the first one, the bitch gained confidence. Fuck. Hey, come here. Hold that for me.
These fists are going to do the talking soon.
Oh, especially since I have one of my favorite things. Bye! Bye! Close traits. Aww. Now what if I just go back? And also, I gained a lot more friends.
Let's go sneak.
Which is like something I never expected to like get streaming. Nah. Come here. Ya bitch. Fuck you.
Who's laughing now?
Ah, whoa! Did the game just say, here you go, we're allowed to give you... Artemis, my beloved. Artemis is a beloved. She is. We're about to have a fuck ton of colors on the screen.
Good enough to eat.
Purposes to woo me? Listen.
Like that.
Oh, fuck the brimstones. Listen. Yeah, she fine. They made every person in this game hot. I'm gonna be honest. Where are you? There you are.
I'll take that.
Woo. Woo.
Oh, good.
I'll take that. Where is it? This is good.
Nice and cool.
Listen, I will forever acknowledge the fact that I am not down bad. I'm just gay. The fucking alarm jump scare. Hey, yo, keep my chat. Ow! Fuck! I need to take these earrings out. Also, I'm in the midst of a mental breakdown. I've dyed my hair and currently there's bleach, so I have to go quickly rinse that out. I'll be back. Keep the chat entertained. Alarm is homophobic. Alarm is very much homophobic. But it's also keeping my hair from falling out of my scalp. Bleach did bear shit, so we have another round. I also can't see what the fuck you're saying. Staying alive. I've noticed. Yes. Also, I'm so sorry, my friend. It seems like the arson command's not working. How sad. It's not. I'll fix it. I'm not gonna let y'all live without your arson command. That shit's been here since the beginning. No, I used to have an arson command. There you go. Did you just spell arson wrong? Pretty sure my mod just spelled arson wrong. Oh yes, it's the bitch who inspired the arson. If you don't know, fucking Wayward set a fire in a Walmart parking lot once. We love and appreciate Wayward in this household.
Well, this time.
I was slouching. Thank you so much. Oh hell! I want to leave. I don't want to be here no more.
Nothing.
I panicked over nothing. I panicked over fucking nothing. You just took everything. Holy shit. I don't even have music playing. Shit. Fuck.
What's with that?
Shush, don't disrespect him. Okay, wait. You're special.
Strong stuff.
Fuck. I'll let you pick the song, the vibe to in a second. Let me go quickly murder Meg.
Please be Meg.
Ah, fuck!
If you're no god, you're nothing but a piece of
You seem to have me all figured.
And you just a recolored bitch! And you just a recolored bitch that no one loves! She stepped on a trap! I saw that shit! Hee hee. See you, motherfucker. Come at me.
really.
Yes. Oh wow, you threw a fucking... I forgot the name of those. Can you just mention how much I've abused the fucking dashes? The flirt. I like to color every fucking skin Meg.
I don't like her very much.
Yeah, no shit.
By my birthright.
Yeah, no shit. Whoa.
I'll just be a moment, Father.
We'll save that.
Closer to the surface.
I'm just excited, bro. Why are you excited? Oh yeah, that's right. Pick the song we listened to. Pick the music. He's just always here. Also, yes, there's more bleaching. Fuck! Oh, there's more of you. Because of course there is. Shit. Ow!
Message from Olympus for you, boss. It says, it sure is nice up here upon this mountain, not having to escape the underworld.
Bro, I am trying.
Time to go. Off we go.
Hello, mother dearest. Hello, grandmother. Hello, grandmother dearest. Please don't make this hell. I spoke too fucking soon. Fuck. Y'all can't let me have a moment of fucking peace! Yeah.
Hades.
Nope. Nope. Sorry, Chaos. She's more important. Yes, let me just casually, casually just... Why was I expecting anything else? I was... Oof. I gotta... I can't hear the game. There we go. It's like I can't hear her speak. I go to one. There are some clubs where you can actually suggest songs. Eurydice is the beloved. Oh! Thanks. Oh, son of a bitch. Can you tell I love being here? Ooh. Ah! You look like... Shit! I know who gave me that. I love how most of my mods have to suffer with ads, and then there's the one motherfucker who's just like, take my money. Oh! They fucking zoom now! I see that I'm low on health. I can fucking see that. Yeah, remember how I said we're gonna see a shit ton of colors? I meant to not just say colorful. I meant to not just say colorful to that. Oh. We're not gonna go towards the death one. I'm also not shitting on my mods. I fucking love them. Oh, fuck all of you to fucking hell and back. I have not known a single day of happiness. God. Move away from the bomb, please. Also pretty sure, I'm not even sure if this bleach is working. Hades.
Electric.
Wait, oh my god, what did I do to her? I've completed Artemis's entries. What did I do? What did I do to her? On the server, I made a whole wheat farm. I went on that server once after every— oh fuck, I gotta fight the Hydra. Got an enchantment table. Hee hee. Oh yeah, you live in my base. I forgot about that.
I wouldn't mess with me if I were you.
Oh. I already hate that. Hey, hold that for me. Oh, he's already frozen! Ah! Who gave you a bomb? Why is he already half dead? Man's already half dead and we've been here for only 5 minutes. Is there another one over here? I thought there was. I am murdering this man's entire existence and family. I should not be allowed to defeat that thing. Man, Lily! My beloved! My friend! How are you? Thank you so much for the 10 years. Let me quickly kill these motherfuckers. I woke the cat up. For everyone health, seems doable. Who knows? I did it.
Clear.
With making macaroons. If you make good macaroons, may I have some?
Oh, I didn't see you come.
Shut the fuck up. You shut the. Why is this cheap? The game felt pity for me and gave it to me for cheap.
Take me up.
Also, I'm in the middle of a mental breakdown, currently bleaching my hair and soon gonna dye it green, so we'll see how this goes. This game, don't make me fight the bull early and we're good.
Up here. Do not mess with me right now.
Oh, switches. Fuck! Oh yeah, you guys get the annoying ones. Oh, I hate you with every fucking fiber in my being. Holy shit, Chaos is here. Why did a fucking another one of you spawn? You cuck.
I warned you. Now here goes.
Let's go see Chaos. Let's go see Chaos.
Dionysus offered him his services, I see. He can be rather.
Ow! Chaos said go fuck yourself! Ooh, I'll sacrifice the dash. I'll sacrifice the dash. Yes, Lily.
Death has come.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me!
Thought I might find you all the way out here. Although, quite frankly, I'm surprised you're still alive.
Listen.
I can hold my own in case.
Fuck you, I'm down bad for you.
I haven't, Zach. Now stand back a bit. And here they come.
And here they fall.
You cuck. You bitch. You took my kill. You cuck for that one. I see the chariot. You motherfucker. You cuck. I take. Oh, thank God. What the fuck, Lily? How many bits did you just give me? How many bits did you just fucking... Lily, what the fuck? Love you. I love you too, Lily. What the fuck? Lily, I love you. But Jesus Christ. Happy Christmas. It's not even Christmas. You are like months off. Oh my goodness, but thank you, Lily. Ignore how I basically called this man a cuck like 3 times.
Something for the show. I told you I don't need your help here, Thanatos.
Looking around the Christmas tree.
It wasn't being offered. Just happened to be in the area is all.
Artemis! I want... Listen. Oh, I have a killer butterfly. That's nice. Yes. The answer to that is yes. Fuck, I didn't realize those went down. No, don't you fucking dare. Thank God.
Butterflies. Ugh.
In
the name of Hades.
You go watch Lady Blonde. Yes, she has my favorite. I could 100% go take some more health. Good decision! Ah, you cucks! Just gonna... Oh, of course. Because I can't have a moment of peace. Where's the bow, bitch? Okay. That's fine. That's completely fair. I have one more. Oh, you're over there. You cuck. I have 200, it's fine.
I'll pay for that.
Ooh, 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 fuck, ooh, fuck, ooh, fuck. I have a Dionysus and Demeter 1. The game really said choose. Listen, hers is a lot more. Ooh. Lily! 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 Lily, you're gonna make me cry, what the fuck? I've been vibing. Honestly. I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry. Lily! Lily! Oh. She tweeted something beautiful. Hey, hey, bestie, don't fuck. Don't kill me, please.
Sorry, Dionysus, mate.
Fuck me! Ah! Okay, you didn't need to be a bitch and bring out the witches. That was actually a shit ton easy.
Okay, let's say we're settled up.
Don't tell- I fucking completed his entry too. Do you know I got favorites when I completed their entries. You know I got favorites. But also, I just never see her. And Athena just hasn't come to visit in a while. And motherfucker is here again. Let's go get him again. Bad vibes! Bad vibes! Ow. Shit ton of bad vibes. Bad vibes. Bad vibes. Bad vibes. Dude, there's like 50. I don't know who's regenerating and who's not. Fucking freeze. You're fucking lying to me. You're lying to me, right? I'm not having a very fun time right now. Oh my god, you're joking. Oh my god. Hey. Don't check Twitter. I swear to God.
Thanks, family.
Hey, I could really use this right now.
Bad time to be a little short of coin.
This game hates me. This game fucking hates me. Replenish 1, I would greatly appreciate that. Interesting noise. This is pain! This is pain! As much as I don't want to, I must. I have to fucking fight them now, don't I? I'll take 90 health. I gotta go fight. I gotta go find a man who will call me a slur, but then also ask for a hand job in the back alley.
These two.
Am I wrong? Theseus looks like he will call me a slur. You a bitch! I don't know where any of them are. Oh, they're both frozen. Shit. What hit me? Heath. Listen, it's not my fault. I got favorites. Aphrodite, what the fuck? Ah! Oh, I'm dead. I'm not. We're still in. One down.
See that full man?
Hey, hey, I did it, I did it. I need to get those things back. Hey, thank you. Y'all can suck my dick.
Hope you enjoyed the show.
A disappointing show from Theseus.
Son of a bitch. Okay, I have to look for those. I know I need to get those. This is gonna be a very bad Hades fight.
No more dead to deal with, at least.
Enjoy the lurk. Thank you for lurking, my friend.
The widely feared and many.
He loves to eat. Can you blame him?
Hey, friend.
Try this way.
Might put to sleep. God damn. Kinda forgot how powerful some of the shit I have is.
No way.
Oh, there's no way I'm gonna be able to defeat him in one. Ow. Shit, I thought that was full.
That's a relief.
Honestly. Okay, 99. Hey, friend. Do you wanna, I don't know, not murder me in my sleep? I'll go for the coin and then... Forget whatever the fuck I said. Forget whatever the hell I'm... These gloves have given me ungodly amount of things.
Oh, it's just a tiny vermin. Oh, gods.
Give smoke. Too fucking soon, Mike. Oh shit, he's biting my ankles! He's biting my ankles! Motherfucker really got my ankles. Hey, thanks. What is happening? I'm gonna die. What killed? I'm assuming the poison killed me. Oh. Well, shit. I think that is the first time I've died in that area.
That blasted tiny vermin.
We're never gonna go near that motherfucker ever again. Damn it.
Wait. This just can't be right. It says...
No, keep them.
Where is he?
They're still at work, I guess.
No.
You know, Father, I must say, ransacking your domain beats having to toil endlessly.
Carl, is that your way?
No.
Yes, please, Father, give me back my...
Privileges are earned and not begged for, boy. Unless you plan to reimburse this house for...
Oh, we're getting heavy rain.
Whichever exorbitant amount.
I swear you're right. That one is such an idiot.
Interesting.
Oh, anyway, I'd best get back to work.
You take care too, Miss May.
They get along at least.
Interesting. 5 keys, steep deal, but I'll take it.
Chaos seems to have taken somewhat of a liking to me, Nyx. They mentioned you.
They mentioned me, did they? I thought perhaps that they had long.
Oh my god, Chaos is taking a liking to me, a chaotic little shit. A chaos being makes sense. Hey Cat, I stole your job.
Please make yourselves at home.
Oh no, where is he at? Son of a bitch, where is anyone? Hey!
Go about your business.
Hey!
Lord Hades Soul's
Hey!
champion is now.
Hey!
By helping you out there and still you failed.
Bitch!
Turns out there's quite a lot of dead to fight down in the underworld. Though I probably got farther than I would have thanks to you.
Always happy to oblige. Especially...
That's a little fruity in my opinion.
What?
Surprise, Hypnos.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! You can't bring that in here.
Just because I've not let that man have a single day of rest in my entire life. I've accidentally brought that man to his knees.
Okay. Let's see what that one does.
Receive 100. Ooh. That's a nice thing, but I do appreciate having a little bit more health because I'm a fucking idiot.
Look what I found.
So this is either gonna go really good or really bad. There's no in between.
Someday we will be resting eating.
Your dash, your attack. Ooh. We'll take this one for right now.
Shocking.
We'll take that one until I get a better one. Or if I get a better one. Hi! Okay. Hey, Chaos. How are you doing? Might as well. Chaos. Where have I done Chaos?
Where am I?
Fucking Chaos Realm. Where do you expect?
Son of Hades, I believe I have deduced something I thought was sooner recognized. Your mother must have been one who called herself Persephone.
Ah, shit. Chaos knows my life story. Someone called Cat and told him I stole his job. I'm now the Chaos being bitch.
I do. She's somewhere on the...
I hope that your attempts achieve success. She is beyond my senses presently, but of course I am still able to assist you in your journey thus.
Goddamn.
Son of Hades.
That's also not a joke. Please someone tag Cat and just be like, Ren stole your job as being a Chaos being, because fucking Chaos enjoys them too much. I do need keys. Okay. Don't run into any fucking I'm so glad you have mouth wide open. The fuck was that? Ow, you cunt.
Think you can stop me?
I saw a tiny bitch. You fuck. We'll see him in a little bit. Son of a fuck! Oh my god, okay! Sorry, Artemis is the beloved. Oh, it's this cuck. I actually hate this motherfucker. Hi, love.
Ah, good old Father Zeus. He must have blessed us.
Yes, he did. Ooh.
I'll make every strike count.
I'm gonna be honest, I want Artemis back. Or, not Artemis, I want Athena back. Kinda left me, but I miss being slightly overpowered, bitch.
Found something.
Found something. You found a key. You found a key. Oh, fuck!
We have an intruder.
Got their attention.
You waste my time.
Oh, boo-hoo, cry about it. Cry about it, bitch.
Wares.
As much as I want a key, I'm not gonna risk my life for it. Oh my god, you're joking. I should not be able to one-shot creatures just because I feel like it. Should not be able to.
Bit of a break. There, that's it.
I mean, fuck yeah, I'll take free health.
More trouble.
Ooh, 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 ooh. I'm so sorry. I haven't seen him in a while, but what do you have to offer me?
Here's the fee.
He offers me the beloved. Already starting off good. We're already starting off good.
Electo's next. Not quite.
Aww.
Whoever decided to put their hands on my kids, please come outside so I can peacefully break your legs.
Emerald! Hello, my friend. How was your stream? How are you? Have an amazing stream. Thank you! I just put the wrong command in. It's fine. I need to get better at this fucking command. Fucking... I jump every time this fucking alarm goes off. There we go. There we go. Alright. Harry, you can hold off for like...
We could change the subject.
Harry, you can hold off for like 3 seconds. Oh, I don't got a lot of shit to fight. Oh yeah, I really don't got a lot of shit to fight her. Ow. Where is she? Where is she?
This again.
Alright, room's tinier. Shit. No, I didn't do that. I always feel bad fighting her. Cause she's very innocent.
Hope she won't be back anytime soon. Pure darkness.
Would you rather fucking fight Meg? I was like, she's one of the easier ones. Huh.
Next floor.
A bitch has been a little too quiet for me. I died to a rat.
Asphodel.
Or as I like to call it, hell. He's always here. He's always fucking there. It's always Hermes after I get here. Oh yeah, let me go quickly rinse out the bleach that's in my hair. And then we'll see how that goes. I guarantee it didn't do anything. Oh no, it fucking did shit. keep this conditioner a little longer than I do, and the bleach is currently having an orgasm.
Oh my.
Which is normal, because it's in a bottle. That's like that, but it's fine. I'll let the conditioner sit in longer than I usually give it. But I need another Band-Aid, because that shit came off. Chat, don't do what I'm doing. I'm just fucking up my hair. Yeah, I like when I was like, oh, this straight up had a fun time. I shouldn't do that, because that's going to go on the bed, and I really don't know if that's still activated. But the one good thing is, if it looks bad, it's fine, because the green will cover it up. It will just make it green in some spots. It's fine. Again, chat, don't do what I do. Don't fucking neglect your hair to this degree. Especially since I have a piece in the front. But I have a dark green, so it's fine. We're gonna forget I have this in. Alright. Lego! Son of a bitch. I hate these so much. Fuck you, cuck. Don't. Oh! There's the party! Hey, friend.
You've been already for my pub, haven't you, cuz? Wonderful guy. We don't get to spend a lot of time together, though.
No, I could really use some health. That'd be greatly appreciated.
Thanatos?
Death has arrived.
Why here?
Still at it, I see. You're stubborn. And you're going to get me in a heap of trouble before all is said and done.
Let's slay these wretches.
Let's, by all means.
Oh, shit. Oh, shit. You son of a bitch. Shit.
You're clear of them for now.
Oh, okay.
It isn't much then, but I got you something.
You want me to take that off your hands? Fine. But you are taking this from me. And if anybody asks, we're even. Or scratch that. Don't tell anyone about this.
Thank you, Than.
I've got to hand it to you, Zag. You're easy to track down. The Shades of Tartarus are beginning to fear you even.
Oh, they won't fear me once they get to know me.
Oh.
I'm not so sure about that. Even I'm beginning to fear you, I think. Seems I don't know you as well as I thought.
Oh, fuck! Good sir, do we need to talk about your daddy issues? I'm now very curious what that butterfly does. Oh, Artemis is next? Fuck yeah, what do you got?
That'll keep me going.
Oh, I got Artemis, let's go. Let's make this a little bit fun. Son of a bitch. Oh, it feels weird. Oh, it's because of... Get the fuck out of here. Ah, son of a bitch, you took him. Oh, you don't. Hi. Hey. Sorry, Dusa.
Nearly got me.
You're fine.
Now what?
Oof. 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 Oof, it's Zeus and Artemis. Oof. Oof. We all know who I'm going for. Oh, I have his fucking entry complete. Oh, no, I've had her entry complete for the longest time. Can definitely tell who I have favoritism towards.
I won't forget this.
Can't say I didn't warn you, young.
Yeah.
Old Zeus.
Where the fuck are they? There it is. Oh my god, you literally have another one. Oh, we're not done yet. Makes perfect deal.
Guess he's upset.
No shit, Sherlock. He's upset. I wonder why. I hate these fucking bombers.
All is forgiven.
Oh, it's forgiven you. Almost murdered me. I didn't even see how much money I have. I have 211. It's fine. Please tell me I don't have to. Son of a- Hi, I haven't seen you in a while.
Don't spend it all in one place.
Looks like we meet again, dearest, here among the foul detritus of the boatman's wares.
Oof. Fuck, I would love to do that, but I would... take more health. Alright, cool. I have $11 to my name. And I have to go I have to go punch a Hydra with the very limited power I have.
You come to fulfill my father's wishes.
I need to stop drinking a Coke every time I'm in that. Fuck. Fuck, I was about to be like, I know it's been a while since I've healed this, like not even a little bit since I killed this thing, but fuck my life. Why'd it go to you?
I'll take care of this.
Thank you, love. Why did both of them go? Yeah, I knew that was gonna happen. Okay, cool. How much you want to bet it's not gonna be there? Why? It's like, how much you want to bet it's not gonna be there? You just don't have the fucking money for it! Yeah, this is gonna end horribly.
Pleasant temperature.
I hate all of you fucks. Don't tell me I got the murderous fucking butterfly bitch here too.
Thank the fates.
You are entirely too young to have had meaningful experience with loss.
This is not gonna be a fun fight. Alright, shut up.
Should work. Have to keep going.
I know you do.
Great shields.
Oh yeah, I'm dead. Yeah. Listen, I was like, this is not gonna be a good run. I just accepted it. Oh shit. Oh shit. Hey.
Hypnos, really, that is the worst idea I think I've ever heard. Do you understand how little sense that makes?
I'm just saying, maybe if you just, I don't know, had all the mortals die at the same time and save.
I don't know why I bother with you, honestly. Get back to work.
Oh.
What did you do? Shush. Shush.
You keep an eye on father for me, boy.
Cerberus promises to do.
Aww.
Guess what, father? The lounge is all tidied up.
Are you expecting words of thanks because you paid the contract?
What have I replaced every furnishing in?
I suppose, boy.
Oh, it's no trouble at all.
Okay, I need to get 2 diamonds. Which I could switch. Ooh.
Approved. A fine display of dead meat seems very much in theme, I have to say.
Won't be displayed with all the rest.
Damn. Damn.
We'll have something more affordable next time.
I understand you've journeyed well beyond the pits of Tartarus, my friend.
Inspiring enough to make you want to sing again?
Force this motherfucker to sing again.
Oh, that's a rather bold insinuation, Zagreus. I don't know that I've the will for that.
Of course. Nyx, I ran into Thanatos out there. He aided me, although...
Thanatos is worried for you, child.
Worried for you. Worried for you, she says. Nah. Oh shit. He's not being rude. I haven't. I swear I don't have favorites. I swear I don't have favorites. I swear I don't have favorites. Oh my god. How did I fucking complete Zeus's entries?
That kills me, actually.
What?
Oh, Freya got that one. #1 Zeus hater over here. That's me.
Do you want to know what's funny?
What?
I got a his before I got Aphrodite's. But that's just because I never see her. Okay, Athena was first, 100%. Oh, I only have 2 for Hermes.
Aww.
My boy, listen, my boy's always there. But sometimes I don't need to see him. Oi!
Your extended family, the Olympians. They wish to... Neither do I.
Yo, I gotta see you. I gotta see your partner. Why is the bull?
How vicious do you think you are?
Time to go see what the fuck he gave me.
Look, there's some on my pants. It fell. Wow. Wait.
I have 12. I need 6 more.
looks interesting.
So vicious.
If that ain't the most. Oh, well shit just looks demonic.
Well, time to go get killed again.
The infernal arms are sealed away for a reason, boy. Your curiosity exceeds your common sense. But heed my words. You stay away from those.
Man straight up said time to go die again. I'm sorry, I've murdered you I think 30 times now.
You stay away from me.
I'm sorry.
I have a question. Am I okay to get a shower now or should I wait?
You're good.
You sure?
Yeah.
You met Achilles after all, Goblin.
Yeah. This is literally just conditioner.
Instrumental in war
It's not gonna do
design.
anything.
Still, he resisted my attempts to sway his actions.
That's because that man's a little bit too fruity for my liking.
That sounded homophobic.
She was talking about Achilles! She was talking about Achilles! He's a little bit too fruity for my liking! I like women! Listen, I'm bisexual, but women are more pretty. Your dash? Oh, give me that. Fuck you, bitches! Oh, it's pink. I love that. I already took 3 damage because I looked away.
Did you just get her dash now?
This is the first time I've got her dash. Why is Chaos here already?
One of my favorite pictures was her and Dionysus.
Wait, why is Chaos is already here? Chaos is already here. Man is just like, I heard your call. Yo, what's up? Oof. Oh. Your life is reduced? Oh, wait, no. Oh, shit, this one's actually kind of nice. But can I risk the 48 health?
Power of primordial chaos.
Listen, Chaos got favorites. And I'm fucking one of them. Why are they spinning? What did I do? Give me that. I hate the fucking brimstones. I feel like that's just a universal experience to fucking hate brimstones. I like the sounds her makes. Her one makes.
Right there.
Oh fuck. This is gonna be painful. Oh!
Let's go, lads. My chaos burn switched to a new effect.
Motherhood's a curse, young Zagreus. Be thankful you're immune.
Oh, she doesn't know. She doesn't know. Oh, she doesn't know. She doesn't know.
More numbskulls.
in the most disrespectful fucking way. I need you to suck my dick.
No, you don't. Darkness. What's in the pool this time? Must be something I can use.
Fuck you. Fuck you. I'm just completing people's entries at this point.
I'll take this one.
I didn't mean to click on that. Damn it, I meant to click on me. That's fine. Son of a bitch.
If I could take a minute of your time.
Surrounded. Crushed.
Fucking witches. Nope, I'm not dying in here. Oh, ain't you fucking calling a brimstone? Fuck you.
Tuned up.
I meant to put that in a different direction, that's fine. There we go.
Some darkness. Worth it.
I accidentally clicked that bottom one.
Which path?
Key. I thought that was something else, but no, fuck that.
Delicious. Please be Meg.
Damn it.
Tiffany.
I appreciate her, but not right now.
Let me guess.
Murder.
Murderer, perhaps. But one of those two.
And a non-like stupid question, are her attacks butterflies? Alright. Shush. Shush.
That's enough, Tartarus. Hot up here.
I wasn't kidding. He's always fucking here.
Slam dancers.
Shit.
All set.
Your message post says here. Hurry up.
Bro, I've been trying. You move faster. Oof. You know what? Fuck it. Let's see how many of these I can collect. Nice. Sorry, Dusa.
Lord Ares.
And I see you have the Lady Aphrodite's blessing there all.
He.
Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh shit.
Oh shit.
Thoughtful, Zagreus.
They say a lot of things about me, dearest, and they'll tell you in your dealings with me. Ample caution isn't.
Don't hate me, Aphrodite.
Oh no.
It's a wrap.
Girl, wait, she almost fucking got. Aphrodite. There it is. I was like, I'm gonna get that. Oh my god. Why? Please. Oh my god.
Last chance. Oh no.
Don't you refuse my good graces like that again.
Okay. Understandable. Have a good day.
Back again.
I think that's also the first time I've died to a god.
So you walked straight into a burning magma spout. Is that what got you?
No.
Cool off. Had enough yet?
No.
In my recent audience with Nixlad, she let on that you have mentioned chaos as of late.
Chaos is not like anyone I've ever met. At first I was a little worried meeting this vast primordial entity apparently responsible for all creation, but they seem alright. Chaos and Nyx haven't been talking for a while, though. You don't know what happened there, do you?
Also, I don't know what the fuck is happening outside.
I know a little bit, I think. Nyx, she and Chaos, they just slowly...
I thought she missed the bed for a second.
And after that, Dusa, you are to clean the rafters once again and prune the gardens.
Yes, right away.
Poor Dusa. Say, Orpheus, I ever tell you I once single-handedly slew a multi-headed bone hydra within the magma fields of Asphodel without some...
My, that is wonderful to hear, my friend. Another in a litany?
I'm glad you think so, mate.
Where is she? Bro, I got... Fine.
Improved upon my father's name. Not like he's paying any heed.
So wasteful of my realm's resources, boy. I'm truly sorry that he's troubled you again.
I thought you'd figured out by now that guilting me into abandoning...
What would you know of it?
Don't...
And there it is again.
Oh my god! I am going to fucking bring this game to its knees.
No, this is for me.
I just happen to think you deserve better than you've got.
Listen, sometimes some other people deserve to have that just utmost bullshit. I would have given it to Meg, but I have no idea who the fuck she is.
Just need to keep at it.
Damn. Oh, fuck. What can I get for keys?
What's in the old exchange? Seems like a good deal.
Quickly.
You want to repeat that?
Cerberus is comfortably at rest.
Back soon, boy. Here, boy.
Literally.
Just as long as one of your three heads enjoys these pets.
Next. What?
Oh, we're just giving pets. Goddamn. Okay, cool. It does save.
I can be more.
I know you can. Believe me. I know you can. Do you know how many fucking these I would love to have? Right. I think I'm gonna end that for today. I know it's a like short stream for it being my 2 years. But it's understandable. Because again, I need to go do shit. I need to finish fucking my hair. Oh, you fucks left. Damn. We could go. Let's go Ray Beanie. Let's go Ray Beanie Bugs. I need more people to like. I'm not saying this is like a rude way. I just need more people to stream later. And often, or not subscribe. So I just need to make more friends. You son of a. I'm gonna fucking kill him. Okay, that's fine. I'm gonna murder him. Jay, you're on thin fucking ice. But yeah, what's tomorrow? Tomorrow's Friday. I will be back tomorrow. It will be slightly longer stream to make up for this being a short stream. But yeah, I need to go do the hair. Alright. Bye!